right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're live here on Three Rivers Broadcasting. It's time for the Pittsburgh Sports Report, and we'll be with you for the next, hour and a half or so to bring you all of the latest and greatest in Western Pennsylvania sports. I'm Alex Fidrashevsky.
I'm Jordan Yaniga.
Andrew Krasowski.
And Elijah Jackson.
There he is. How's everybody doing out there tonight?
We found out our interns are really good at doing technical stuff, so we're keeping Elijah on the board tonight because he did a great job last week.
He did. You guys did a great job while I wasn't here last week. It was a really good show, and thanks for holding down the fort. You did a good job. I'm very happy. Everybody did a great job today, too. Got a lot of good footage done and things like that, so we're looking forward to having a good program. So we got to start off here, Andy, a little bit of Joey the Truth, right?
Yeah, and from what I heard here, I know, the Truth sends us over some of the stuff a little bit early, and I'm kind of interested what the Truth has to say here because I think you have some, differing opinions after we hear from the Truth tonight. That's not usual for us. We usually agree with the Truth. So
yeah, I got a little different opinion. Let's hear from him, Elijah. Joey the Truth.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for 5 minutes with the truth.
Hello everybody, Joey the Truth Wagner with you. Friends, welcome in another Wednesday, another week here on the Pittsburgh Sports Report. And everyone, it has been a very, very busy week for the Pittsburgh Pirates, especially General Manager Ben Cherington. As over the weekend, it was the 2021 MLB Draft. And a great chance for the Pirates to get. Hello everybody, Joey the Truth Wagner with you. Friends, welcome in another Wednesday, another week here on the Pittsburgh Sports Report. And everyone, it has been a very, very busy week for the Pittsburgh Pirates, especially General Manager Ben Cherington. As over the weekend, it was the 2021 MLB Draft, and a great chance for the Pirates to get high-end elite talent into their farm system. And friends, for years, when it's been talking about the Pirates, it's usually been very sad, negative, nunning, cheap, bad, all of that. But I can see light at the end of this tunnel. There is hope for these Pittsburgh Pirates with Cherington leading the way. To all of the baseball fans out there who maybe heard of the name Ben Cherington but didn't really know which teams he was with and who he worked for, here's a quick background on him. At the start of the decade, 2010s, he was with the Boston Red Sox. He was there with Theo Epstein, and it was him and Epstein. And under Cherington's watch, Boston won a World Series in 2013, mostly because of their young players. Also, 2018 as well with Mookie Betts, Andrew Benintendi. At the time, the Red Sox had a top farm system that contributed to that World Series. Why? Ben Cherington. After Cherington left Boston, he went to the Toronto Blue Jays. In his time there, he built the Blue Jays farm system to the best farm system in all of baseball. The results? Last year, they made the playoffs. This year, they're competing for the playoffs. So, if you want someone to rebuild your organization from the ground up, it is Ben Cherington. He's done it before. He can draft, he can develop, and he knows how to get the best players into the farm system. And looking at the Pirates draft, he did that in an unbelievable way. With the first overall pick, Henry Davis, the catcher out of Louisville. According to the rankings, 4th best player on the board. The Pirates' second round pick, Anthony Solometo, a left-handed pitcher, high school lefty from New Jersey, has a fastball, low to mid-90s fastball, has a really good slider, and a Madison Bumgarner type delivery. Another second-round pick for the Pirates, pick 64, they went with a high school outfielder from Philly, Lonnie White Jr., known for his power and his speed. And their pick at the start of the 3rd round, pick number 72, high school pitcher out of Georgia, Bubba Chandler, has a mid-90s fastball, curveball, slider, and a changeup. And friends, you're probably wondering, why am I specifically talking about these 4 picks? Here's why. According to Baseball America, which is one of the best places to get information about prospects and draft-eligible players, Davis was the 4th best prospect. Bubba Chandler, the 3rd round pick, 20th best prospect in the whole draft. Lonnie White, 32nd best prospect. Solometo, 28th best prospect. I don't know how he did it, folks. Ben Cherington got 4 of the top 32 prospects in this draft, and it's all expected that they will sign. And I know last week I said pick Jack Leiter, and I still stand by that, but Ben Cherington did an awesome plan B, because he still got pitching. He still got high-end elite pitching. The first 4 picks, Cherington hit a grand slam, all of them first-round talents, getting them in the 2nd and 3rd rounds. Kudos to BC. And I can't wait until all of these young players can develop, come up with the buckos, and lead the next winning team. There's light at the end of this tunnel. The Pirates should have the best farm system in baseball by the end of the year. We know how that ends with Ben Cherington. You go from best farm system to World Series champion. And it is a good day. A good day, for once, for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Even though we might not see the results until 2023-2024, this was a great draft by Ben Cherington, and the future for the Pirates is finally starting to look bright again.
All right, there you have it. 5 minutes with the truth, man.
Man, World Series championship. The truth is predicting it.
That is some serious talk from Joey the Truth right there, saying that he thinks that based off of one draft, man, that the Pirates could win a World Series. Don't get me wrong, Cherington's done a good job at previous stops, but he hasn't had to deal with nutting prior to this.
Yeah, I think, I appreciate, first off, I think the Truth is a very well-rounded sports reporter. I would say he's a reporter now. I mean, he does a fantastic job.
He knows his stuff.
I love his optimism.
Yes.
I am a Pirates fan.
You guys need it.
I do think Cherington is a fantastic GM.
Yes.
And I think
I'm not disputing that.
I think he does draft the right way. I think he knows how to run a minor league system, develop players.
Something the Pirates have been lacking for a long time.
So I do think if anybody can do it, it's him. The problem I always see, and you just pointed it out, how much is he going to be allowed to do by Bob Nutting?
At the end of the day, that is going to determine the success or failure of this. Regardless of how many of these guys they drafted this week make it to the majors or not is irrelevant. The real question is going to be is how much of a leash is he going to be given by the owner?
Ownership, yeah.
If Nutting is willing to ante up, which with all due respect to Bob Nutting, history is not in his favor because traditionally when it comes to the contract year, everybody's walking.
Yeah.
Or they're getting traded or whatever it is because he doesn't want to pay the $15-20 million salary. And that's how the Yankees end up getting guys.
Do you think
like
he's
that.
doing? Do you think his philosophy now is kind of what he did a couple years ago? You know, we're gonna be good for 2-3 years. Afterwards we're gonna abandon ship, sell off everybody that's too expensive. Maybe we'll take 6 years, 7 years to get back to that 3-year stretch. And that's just how I'm going to operate my business.
I think that's a reasonable way to say it. Hey, the idea of we're going to get these guys, we're going to build them up, we'll move them along, we'll get a whole boatload of draft picks, or they'll just leave, and we'll finish in last for 5 years, take the parachute payment from Major League Baseball, and maybe we'll get lucky and catch some lightning in a bottle again and get 5 guys who can get us back to past 500 baseball. But I see where Joey's saying the idea of it's going to be a couple of years. With some of these guys coming out of high school, I think you're talking longer than 23 or 24. You might be talking 26, 27 because guys don't make it to the majors when they're 19 anymore. The days of, a guy breaking through into the majors by age 20.
Yeah, what would you say? Average
mid-20s,
23, 24?
Yeah, probably mid-20s.
Yeah, so you have
some
that
guys
guy
later.
Yeah, the one guy they drafted who signed to be a quarterback at Clemson, he's coming out of high school. So 18 years old. Their top draft pick from Louisville, I believe he was a senior, so he's 22, 23. You got to think he's going to be in the minors
for a couple of years.
At least 2 years.
Yeah, at least.
At least 2 years. So he's going to be 24, 25 by the time he's really kind of hitting his stride at the major league level. But these guys behind him, exactly what you're talking about, they didn't go to Louisville for 4 years. They didn't go to college at all.
The kid from Jersey, the pitcher from Bishop Eustis, is very good. He's raised one of the top.
See, he's just saying that because he's from Jersey. I'm biased. You know that's why. Yeah. If the guy's from Jersey, Alex is going to give him an automatic,
that's an automatic 10 points. That's an automatic 10 points for me. If he's from New York, it's an automatic minus 10 points.
I figured that.
But no, listen, he's supposed to be a very, very good pitcher. He's rated one of the top left-handers in the country. But he's 18. He's 18. You're 6 years away from knowing whether that kid's going to make it to the major leagues or not. There is a way to go before you're going to find out if that kid is going to be Major League Baseball material. I also put very little weight in the baseball draft because it takes so long to develop these guys through the baseball system, and so many of them drop off.
See, and this is always one of my contentions with the Pirates. I have to think, if you're a first, second, or third round draft pick in the majors, you have talent, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Because you're on everybody's board, you're that type of thing.
Right.
In my opinion, a lot of this comes down to the Pirates' failure to develop these guys at the minor league level. Because Mitch Keller is a prime example. He was supposed to be a top-notch pitcher for the Pirates. He was killing people maybe at AAA, and then he gets up to the majors, and his ERA is over, I think, 7. Okay, something's wrong there. Like, what is the gap between AAA and the majors? And why can't they get guys when they get to the major league level to, be at least not crap in the bed when they get there? And this seems to be a problem in the minor league system over and over again. And again, I think Ben Cherington can fix that. I think he's going to be bringing in new personnel, new player development guys. But this kind of goes to a big theme of our program, and we're going to be getting to this in our next segment, is how important development is when you're talking about young players at all levels.
Yeah, for sure. And then your next question is how good is their relationship with everybody down the system? How much is Bob Nutting willing to help out down the system, to the AAA and the AA, all these other teams that they're affiliated with? And, how much money will each of these organizations kind of be willing to part with for Cherington to get the kind of guys into the minor league system that he's going to want? The Boston Red Sox and their affiliates clearly, are great at developing players. The New York Yankees for 100 years have been great at developing players. There were periods of time where the Yankees had thousands of players under contract.
You had George Costanza working in the front office.
That's right. He knew everything. George Costanza was the one who solved all the Yankees' problems on Seinfeld. So, you never got to see Steinbrenner, by the way. I don't think they ever brought him in.
You guys ever watch Seinfeld? I know it's a little. Yeah. So they actually. You ever watch it, Seinfeld? The show.
I've heard of it, but I've never actually seen it before.
Man, these kids these days.
We're old.
They actually said that Steinbrenner actually was on one of the shows.
Was he?
Yeah, they have the footage.
I've never seen it.
And he was so bad that Larry David, the producer, he's like, no, I'm better at playing Steinbrenner than Steinbrenner is. So they redid it after he cut
him
it
as Steinbrenner,
and they always went that direction. Yep. But they actually did try to get it. They filmed it and everything. He was just terrible at being Steinbrenner,
and it didn't work because you'd always, whenever he would go into the office, it would always be like the chair, and he'd be facing away, and that's why. So.
We get off topic a lot.
I don't want to say I disagree with Joey the Truth.
No,
they can get competitive. I think going into the World Series talk off of one draft with a bunch of 18-year-old kids, that's a long conversation to have, and we're not going to know.
We're going to have to get the Truth in studio to talk that one out.
And you're going to have your talk. You can't do that in one draft. You're going to need to do that 2, 3, 4 times. And then when they get to the major league level, they're going to come into a contract year, and then Bob Nutting's going to have to ante up.
Yes.
And if he won't ante up, they're leaving. They're going to New York. They're going to Chicago. They're going to the Dodgers. They're going to Boston, and they're gone. And you have to make sure that you not only keep these guys in, then Nutting's also got to go out and sign free agents and be willing to trade for guys with big contracts.
I agree.
So this becomes a bigger issue where, how much of a luxury cap hit does he want to, take and pay out to try to get the Pirates to that level? Because that's what you have to do now. You have to be willing to pay baseball the luxury fee to go above the salary limits to get where, to get to the elite level. And one, does he have the capital to do it? And two, does he want to?
Yeah, good point. Good first segment. We're coming back in a second here with somebody who again, New Jersey area, Coach Bobby Timinski. I talked to him quite a bit on Twitter. Runs the Basketball Warehouse out of New Jersey. They do a fantastic job training players. So we're going to talk a little bit about summer basketball, the importance of training, and what's going on in New Jersey right now. And we'll talk about that coming back live on the Pittsburgh Sports Report on ThreeRiversBroadcasting.com.
You can visit our website at www.pafootballnews.com and contact pafnsales at gmail.com. That's pafnsales at gmail.com if you'd like to advertise with Pennsylvania Football News, the most comprehensive source for high school football in the Commonwealth. Steel City Grease Traps has provided professional wastewater removal services to the...
You guys there? Testing?
And repair services. Fully insured and licensed by the Commonwealth, Steel City Grease Traps is the service leader in Western Pennsylvania. Their work is their pride, and their word is their bond. Visit their website at www.steelcitygreasemanagement.com or contact them at steelcitygtsales@gmail.com. That's steelcitygtsales@gmail.com for Steel City Grease Traps for all of your non-hazardous wastewater removal needs in the tri-state area.
We're back here live on the Three Rivers Broadcasting Pittsburgh Sports Report. Jordan, what's going on today? Or what are you doing? Weather now? You want to give people the weather update?
I'm gonna do a little sports.
All right, let's hear what's going on in the sports world.
Well, we have the NBA Finals going on. The Suns are leading 2-1, Game 4 against the Bucks. The Washington Wild Things game with Tri-City Valley Cats got rained out today. So
Not a lot going on in the world of
lot
sports
going
right now with the All-Star break, and but I'm excited about Elijah. I know me and you were talking about it. We're excited about the NBA Finals. I think could go 7. I think a lot of it comes down to point guard play with Milwaukee, and their point guard showed up last game and they pulled it out. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. Like I told you, I think sometimes these pro sports, it seems like they always go 7 in the NBA Finals.
It's a little too convenient that they all go 7 games now for me. But I'm not. We won't do conspiracy theory sports talk. That's not why we're here.
So we have an interesting guest here from your neck of the woods, Alex.
That's right.
And I already said that people from New Jersey get a lot of love on this show. I've been
probably more than we deserve.
I've been talking to Coach Timinski for a while and that's kind of the power of social media. Coach, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for having me. And I'll try and do my best to follow Joey the Truth. But
Joey the Truth is a tough act to follow. We love having Joey on, and I'm happy you gave us a little bit of your time today. I know you and I have talked for a couple years now about as trainers and about kind of what's going on in the world of, and I know you coach high school as well. About the value and kind of what's going on right now in the training world of basketball, where we have so many parents that are kind of falling for what I would consider, I don't know, they're bad apples. I mean, there's people that are selling parents on, on all the social media hype, on all the offers, on all the things that are not going to happen for their kid, or they would happen regardless of who that kid plays for AAU. And in my opinion, a lot of that money and time would be much better spent training to become a better player and being around people that are going to guide you in the direction that you need to be. Now, granted, I understand that's the tough part, is finding who those people are. But that's why I wanted to get you on the show today and talk a little bit about what you got going on at Basketball Warehouse and some advice for parents today trying to navigate all this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, as you had mentioned, we talk all the time about, the absurd parts of what has become this AAU world and even the training world to a certain extent, where people are just truly getting bad advice. There are players that drove all the way to Chicago or Indianapolis last week who played a few games, didn't play in front of a college coach, spent thousands of dollars, and probably would have been a lot better off if they just got a ball and went to the park every day and practiced on their own. There's just so many people who are selling dreams to kids. It's almost a shame to a certain extent, because it's a lot of unrealistic expectations. It's a lot of disappointment. There's a lot of hype. The D1 or bus guys that are out there that seem to only sell that because it makes their program a little bit more money. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, but there are just so many parents that don't know any better. And they're literally investing thousands of dollars for what they think is a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And it doesn't happen, because the development that you and I message about so often, it just doesn't occur. You just don't get better. If you haven't played varsity yet and you're traveling to play 5 AAU games in a weekend, it's just misguided. And it's a shame, because no matter how many times, and you and I talk about it a lot, how many times you suggest, hey, stay home, work on your skills, find a good trainer, get in condition, run every day, lift weights, go to the park and shoot jump shots. People feel left out when they're not, in that AAU world. And I don't begrudge anybody for doing it, but it's just, I see the disappointment, and I see it on the back end where kids come back and, they're not any better, they're out of shape, and they haven't had any colleges even come to any of their games, because most of the games are on court 90 in a building that has 120 courts. So it's a challenging time. And then you add in the fact that a lot of the seniors in college have 50 years. Some of the coaches aren't even recruiting this year as often as they would have in the past. It's a crazy time, but I try to be as positive to everyone as I can.
Coach Alex Fidrishevsky here. Just wanted to kind of piggyback off of what you said. I think you make a real great point about the parents who, maybe they're not as invested in or knowledgeable on the recruiting game as some others, or parents who played the sport in college where they can kind of start to ascertain their son or daughter's level a little bit earlier than those who haven't. And when you talk about that pot of gold, trying to see, I always try to, I say this, I try to do this without like lambasting the parent, because in some ways it's not their fault. But when you get into that situation where every parent thinks on the AAU circuit that their kid's going to get that offer, whether it's, Bryant Bucknell or whoever else, I think you get those, like you said, these hard lessons that are learned, and I think they are avoidable in a lot of situations. But there's, like Andy said, there's some bad actors out there, and there's so much more money that can be invested in time into just the development of the individual skill sets. That as Andy was a college coach, a lot of times you want to have that. You want a complete player, not just somebody who can put up some shots.
Absolutely. And I see it, all the time where these players, they're just not developing like they should. And we really have it backwards. You really shouldn't play in front of college coaches or even play at a high level competitive AAU situation until your skills are ready, until you're confident, until you have the ability to compete and to perform. And the mental aspect of it, some of these kids are truly beaten down by the time they're a senior in high school, and they've been dragged all over the place. And some of them play on multiple AAU teams because, the grass they think is always greener on the other side, and it's not. And, you see them, they have this exhausted look on their face, and basketball is not fun anymore. And you can apply this to all the sports now, because I see it in travel softball and baseball, and it doesn't become fun, and you lose that edge, and you lose all those things. And I tweet about it a lot, and Andrew will vouch for it. Go to the park, pick up a ball.
Nobody does it anymore.
Nobody does it anymore, and it's because they're afraid. And I even tell the kids that come to our training facility, where we earn a living off of them, I like when you come here, but I'd be a lot happier if you went to the park and practiced all the things that we worked on your own, because that's how we grew up. We didn't have AAU, we didn't have training facilities. We weren't even allowed in the high school gym during the summer when I grew up in the 80s. So it was get a ball and go to the park and play. And then you go to the other park where they have older guys who played, and then you go to another park where you had younger guys who played, and that's where you develop. And if you're on your own, and it's when you guys texted me about Pittsburgh, I remember going to the 5-star basketball camp in
Robert Morris. So actually, Elijah is a football player at RMU. So
awesome. And I got on a plane, I flew there by myself. You didn't have a cell phone, and I figured it out. I made friends, and I survived the week. And it wasn't easy, but I was better for it as a player. And now just this environment of, the teams are traveling everywhere, and it's expensive. There are families that are spending $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 to travel across the country for what? And, and that's not to say every situation isn't a positive one where scholarships are produced, but the large portion of kids just need to focus on getting better.
Yeah, and what bothers me is, I think you and I laugh about it quite a bit. I've been a college coach for over a decade, and what always kills me is anytime I say something that doesn't fit the narrative, I have all these people yelling and screaming at me, but you don't have to subscribe to what I'm telling you. You can do your own thing, but it's so funny that so many people ask, what do college coaches think about this, or what do college coaches think about that? And then when we volunteer things on social media that doesn't fit the narrative, or potentially takes money out of the AAU pocket, well, everybody wants to jump down your throat. So it's craziness to me, because at the end of the day, every single kid is, in my opinion, a quote unquote free agent. You have to do what's best for you to get to that college level. Yep. And it doesn't mean always following what everybody else that you're friends with or that's on your travel team or high school program is doing. Sometimes you need to do what's best for you. And it's exactly what you're talking about is a lot of times it's just getting in the gym, getting better, and then taking those skills and the things that you've learned out to a showcase or out to maybe 3 AAU tournaments where there actually are going to be college coaches watching you, and putting together those highlights and putting together that body of work to say, hey, instead of me spending my entire summer doing this relentlessly, I'm actually just going to do it a couple of weeks for these guys, or a couple unique weekends, and say, hey, this is my body of work.
I agree, and you know what bothers me as a high school coach and as a guy who, again, there was AAU was really just starting when I was in high school, and I graduated high school in '90, so there was, I think, 4 AAU teams in the state of New Jersey at the time, and it was just totally different. But what bothers me is the whole high school experience is also glossed over. It's not that important anymore because all they care about is getting to a AAU team so they can play in front of college coaches. And I remember saying to a parent one time, you know what, stay home, get better. And if your daughter averages 20 points a game this year, colleges will notice her. I can promise you, just get better.
I agree. And Alex and I have talked about this. I think it's a complex problem. And it's a problem that the NCAA has actually invented in regards to this basically putting high school basketball down. Because what they've done is, they've basically created these quote unquote open periods, particularly for Division I programs, which is really the only time that these Division I coaches can get out and watch these prospects outside of, occasionally they're going to go follow up and watch a kid at the high school level. But they've created this system, and it only really fits Division I. It doesn't fit 2, 3, NAIA, JUCO, but everybody kind of has been conned into thinking, well, I have to abide by this NCAA program of recruitment, even when you don't. I mean, Jordan here, I recruited her to Point Park University, which is an NAIA scholarship program. One of the things I love about NAIA is it's open season. It's an open period, 365 days a year. But a lot of people don't know that.
Right. And also what a lot of people don't know, and you and I talked about this a lot, and I've seen you tweet about it, and it's also one of those things that it's looked at almost funny, but you can go to a Division III program, have great grades, get tons of academic and athletic or school scholarships, and basically get more money than some kid who's on a half scholarship at a Division I program.
Yeah, I think Alex can speak to that. I mean, he was a Division III soccer player at a really good university. Going to be a university, right?
Wow, yeah, Moravian's transitioning these days.
But
listen, I think there were guys, I can tell you right now, football players when I was at Moravian College, there were football players, and maybe I'm going to get in trouble with the school as an alum, but they didn't, at this point, but there were football players who had full scholarships, essentially. Not athletic, but they had full academic aid there. They were going to a $50,000 a year school for books.
Yep. And to me, that's a scholarship. I don't care how you phrase it.
What does it matter if it's academic or athletic? Aid is aid.
Well, the other dynamic, and a lot of people don't get this, is how many professional players, particularly in basketball, have gone on from Division II, Division III, NAIA to play overseas. Yep. Oftentimes, it's even more than guys coming out of Division I programs. But people don't want to crunch those numbers and figure that out. So, if you're looking to make a living through basketball or any sport, oftentimes those opportunities are much richer at that Division II, NAIA, D3 level, because they're going to work with you to try to get you overseas or turn you into a coach. And it's not this roundabout dynamic of, revolving door, I got to get the next best player in, you're done, move on.
And the talent is incredible. I mean, and like you said, too many people who are judging a certain level have never seen that level, never been to a practice. They've never played with a player who's played at a Division II or Division III school. They've never seen the competition level, and they immediately dismiss it. But as well as I do, particularly, let's take girls basketball. The top 30 or 40 teams in Division I are really, really good. But after that, there are Division II and Division III teams that would beat teams.
Oh, we got Jordan knows this firsthand. We scheduled every single year I've been at the NAIA. We would schedule Division I's and have them cancel. We don't want to play you guys.
Yeah, they're afraid to play, and because they risk all of their social media getting blasted. And I'm not knocking them. I'm not knocking anybody. I just think when kids are looking to play college basketball, no matter where you play, the county college up through to Duke, it's an incredible opportunity, and it should be treated with a lot more respect and not looked down upon and not always frowned upon, because there are so many chances. And at the end of the day, if you use it to get an education and to position yourself for the next step, whatever that is, well, then it's all been worth it.
Yeah, and I think you just hit the nail on the head. There's certain people that are going to LSU, Ohio State, Penn State. Those players, by and large, might have an opportunity to play in the NFL or the NBA or something. That's one thing. When you're a kid that's not going to have that opportunity, and I think by the time you get to high school, you should, or senior year in high school, you probably have a good idea. I'm not going to the NBA here. I might, but probably not. But I better make sure that I get a great education, and I better make sure I figure out the way to do it the most cost-effective way that I can. So I want to go to college, get an education, not pay a ton of money for it. So if I can get money off while playing a sport, that's awesome. And then if I actually make this commitment, I'd like to go to a school where I'm actually getting playing time and not just sitting on the bench for 4 years, averaging, 1.3 points a game for my career. That's to me not really worth it.
No, and there's so many times where kids, if they just open their mind, or parents, if they just open their mind, but it's tough. It's keeping up with the Joneses, and it's not sexy on social media to say I got, I had and now we're tweeting phone calls. I got a phone call from, let's say a Division III.
Strong interest. Yeah.
It's not sexy to say that, but at the end of the day, would you rather go to Williams and graduate, or would you rather go to a Division I school that wins 2 games a year and is a miserable existence for 4 years? It's very frustrating because, like I said, I played Division II. My daughter currently plays Division III. My wife played 2 sports at the University of Virginia. My brother was a walk-on to Florida for Billy Donovan. So I've seen all the levels, and it's just, I keep saying, and just get better, and you can use basketball instead of basketball using you, and you can substitute basketball and put softball or baseball or football or any other sport in there. It's just, there's so many opportunities, and I just see this rat race now, and it came back after COVID worse than ever. I mean, it's amazing, the tournaments, and every kid is tweeting their highlights nonstop. Half of them I can't even see what they're doing. It's so far away. It's just a sense of desperation, and I just know, unfortunately, for a lot of these kids, there's disappointment at the end, and it's tough, but I just keep trying to give advice, and I know most people look at me and shake their head and go to somebody else who will tell them what they want to hear sometimes, but Andrew, you and I, we go back and forth, and it's
yeah. I saw a great Nick Carroll, who runs Prep Hoops. I retweeted it today. He put, "Attention prospects, the truth is, nobody from high school will follow your career once you get to college. You'll get some retweets and likes when you commit. Then 99.9% of your peers move on. Now is not the time to worry about coal. All that matters is fit and opportunity." That's spot on. That's awesome. I think Jordan and Elijah, like, how many of your high school? You guys are playing big time college sports. You're an NAI scholarship player. Elijah, you're a Division I football player. But I don't even talk to a lot of people I went to high school with. And, occasionally I'll get I'm sure you get, hey, nice game, or I'll watch you on TV. But once you get to college, you're kind of focused on, you're focused on the people that you're friends with in college. And
exactly.
It becomes a job. And as I had mentioned, my brother Mark, who was a walk-on to Florida, who played with Jason Williams and Adonis Haslam and Mike Miller and those guys, and played for Billy Donovan. So he was at essentially the highest level as a walk-on. Said to me one time, after we were frustrated and talking with some players, he said, college basketball is not all one shining moment. It's difficult. Nobody cares at times. It's a cold, empty gym. It's 50 people in the bleachers. It's practices on the days when your classmates are on spring break. So many people, they just put so many eggs in this college basketball basket without even knowing what it really means.
Yeah, you can talk to Elijah. What time you guys practicing? Now it's summer. Most kids are on summer break. What are you guys doing right now?
We're practicing at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. you can choose.
Yeah, right. So that's what kids don't get. That that he's in the gym lifting, and then we have him here. He's working on his internship. He's here sometimes till 9:30 working on his career and as a starting Division I running back. So while balancing his grades, so a lot of kids don't get that. They just see, like you said, the sexy factor. But there's so much hard work that goes into this. And a lot of kids really don't want it. Their parents want it for them. because they want the bragging rights and all that. But once the kids actually see what it consists of, they're like, I'd rather just be a college kid, and I'm totally cool with that. That's fine. It's your life.
Absolutely, and you see it in varying degrees. There are some kids who immediately get to college, and you can tell right away that this is not anything that they wanted.
Yeah, remember I tweeted the other day. I said, hey, if you're a 21 commit and you've committed to a school and you're not working really hard right now in mid-July, you're in a lot of trouble. Because those seniors and those juniors and those sophomores all coming back, most of those people are working their tail off. So if you show up as all your coaches always talk up prospects. Oh, we got this 6'11" kid coming in. But if he didn't work all summer, I know I'd be salivating at the math. Oh, yeah? Wait till he gets on campus. I'll show him, as a junior, what it's like to play college ball. There's that competition level going on internally in that team all the time.
Absolutely. And I have the conversation with kids that are in college. I say, look, it's your responsibility. It's your job to show up on campus in shape and prepared. And it's amazing to me how many kids just don't. And for various reasons, and that goes back to our original discussion, which, the foundation of who they are as a player, the development, the role models that they have, the messages that they get as younger players in all sports. It needs to be more about the fundamentals, about doing things the right way, about getting better every day, about committing, about commitment to the team. And, I think the overall sports landscape will be stronger if that ever occurs, because right now it's the most talented kids get all the attention. They fly through it right into the NBA quickly or right into Division I. And there are so many lessons along the way that are just glossed over. And a lot of what you had alluded to, Andrew, is a lot of those coaches in those programs cater to those guys. I'd rather have a gym filled of kids fighting to make the JV team than a gym full of Division I All-Stars who are trying to make the NBA, because I can identify more with the JV kids.
And you know what? Like Alex and I have talked a lot about this with our interns as well. And I kind of wanted to transition for you to kind of tell us a little bit about Basketball Warehouse, how you guys got that started. And kind of what that program consists of. But one of the reasons I think me and you get along so well, and my gym rat program is very much a lot like Basketball Warehouses. I've always tried to cater this program to kids that just want to get better. So Alex and I, we've talked about this at length, is, we've now no longer have a 9th grade team. They've put all these kids on JV. We've said, hey, it's not really important to have JV games. We're just having JV for the fun of it type stuff. That kind of mindset is not working. I think that development factor is so important. And Alex comes from a soccer background, and we've talked a lot about, these academy systems that the Europeans are using in soccer, where the best players in a particular area no longer are doing the travel AAU stuff, but they're basically
they're doing it in basketball too.
Right.
They have academies for these teams in Zagreb,
but
and
affiliated
all those
with pro teams and pro coaches.
Well, the pro teams own them.
Yes.
They're run by Barcelona's basketball academy is run by the same team, Barcelona, the sporting association that has the soccer team. They run it the same way. And you see the result. The rest of the world has caught up to us, and I put this out on Twitter. The rest of the world has caught up to us in basketball like we've caught up to the rest of the world in soccer by doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, I think so.
And we forgot to do it in basketball.
Yeah, so, I mean, if we have opportunities where these kids, instead of kind of doing the rat race all summer, but instead are kind of, I don't want to say it has to be team and game oriented, but they're connected with professional organizations or professional trainers like Basketball Warehouse, where there's a track record. You say, hey, you know what? This kid, I know if they're in that program, they're going to get results over the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, and that's truly what it is. And to answer your question, what we did at the Basketball Warehouse, it was my brother and I, obviously, and it's our family business. We have a mattress and furniture business, and we have this space in the back that we have dedicated to a court. So it's very unique. If you've ever seen the pictures, you can identify right away. But what we noticed was that everybody wanted to play games in AAU, but nobody wanted to teach a kid how to practice on their own. What does a kid do when he or she are by themselves with a basketball to practice on their own? How do they practice? What kind of energy levels do you need to have? What drills should you do? So we've dedicated ourselves. Basically, it's a workout. It's not my brother and I standing around talking for 50 of the 60 minutes. You walk into the gym and you get to work. And so we teach kids how to get better on their own. It gives them enormous confidence. And if you walk into our gym, and we don't collect any money, it's an honor system. We have a mailbox that you put the money in. It's $10 per workout. If you have the money that day, you put it in. If you don't, you pay us the next time. So we don't walk in and hit you over the head with, hey, it's X amount of dollars and you didn't pay us. And it's about getting better. So it builds enormous confidence. And you can walk into the warehouse, and in any given night, you could have a girl who's going to Rider or UCLA on the same court with a girl who got cut as a freshman, but they're doing the workout together, and they're all treated the same. Mark and I, who's my brother, we grew up, we used to go to these practices where the best players got talked about and noticed, and we're on the good courts. And we, because we were smaller and not as athletic and not very good at the time, got kind of shoved to the side, and we didn't really get any attention, and we had shown up to get better, and we didn't get treated the same. So not everybody has to get treated the same in other environments, but at the warehouse, that's what we do.
Yeah, I love that. And I think I'm showing our staff here some of the pictures of the warehouse. And, you know, that's kind of how I operate too. We operate off, you know, we get some courts up at high schools, and we'll rent stuff every once in a while. But the majority of our practices or our workouts happen on a little racquetball court at Amerifit Fitness Club. I got a hoop, I got a hard floor, and I got basketball. So let's get after it. And you know what you have right there. I'm showing the guys with the mattresses in the background and stuff. It doesn't have to be like you said. It doesn't have to be a sexy environment. We just want people in there that want to get better. I've always, you know, I have my prices listed. They're transparent. If you can't afford it, give me a call. We'll work something out. I kind of operate under that old boxer mentality. If you can't pay for boxing lessons, but you want to come work, you know, come clean the gym up or teach a class to the younger kids, we'll figure out a way to get you better. But kids have to be willing to get in the gym and realize it's going to be hard. I love how you have the kids like on different mornings, they're running around and like actually conditioning, and it's outside, and it's not always catered to AC.
No, and our warehouse is a 100-year-old building that the other day I actually had to cancel the workout because it was 93 degrees inside.
Yep.
So, but that was a rare thing. But what we do is we run outside, we run a half mile before we get started. We do sprints in the parking lot. It's just, you know, and I don't know, old school, I guess, but it's the only thing we knew growing up. It was you run every day, you condition every day, you get better every day. And it's an environment that also, too, the coaches know, because of our track record, which we're very proud of, that they're going to go in there and they're not going to get sold anything other than if you work hard, you're going to get better. You know, invest in these drills, invest your time in getting better. And as you had mentioned, Andrew, it's not always like that. You know, some programs just want to take pictures of the sexy kids or the superstar kids, and I don't really care. I never have. And quite honestly,
let's just get better. And I agree. I mean, I've never been. I don't care about popularity contests. Some people really like me. Some people don't like me. Most of those people that don't like me don't even know me. So it doesn't. If you get in the gym with us, we're going to treat you great. You're going to get a lot of individual attention. Most of the kids that train with us, just like you, they're with us for years. So that's the kid I'm gonna work with. You know, Jordan, I've been fortunate enough to coach her as a college coach, and we still have those players come back and get in the gym with us all the time because they know they're going to get results, and they know we're going to treat them the right way. And that's all I can ask for as a training company.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I've seen your videos, and I've seen how you message things, and it's very similar to what we do. And one of the best compliments we can get is when somebody says, "Oh, he or she, that's a warehouse kid."
I love it. Yeah, that's what I'd say. The same thing. That's one of that kid. That kid's a gym rat. Yep.
No, yep. And what they're not saying that kid's the best player on the court. What they're saying is that kid has worked hard. That kid has overcome a lot of obstacles. That kid believes in himself. That kid has gotten in better shape. And we're a small little program doing the best we can, and it's I'm grateful. Some of the relationships that I've had, this relationship, and thousands of others that have developed as a result of it. I feel very grateful. I feel very lucky. I feel very blessed because there's nothing better. And, you know, as a coach, man, sometimes you don't hear it when you're going through it with the kids, but a year later or 2 years later, you get that thank you text, or you get that message that says, now I understand what you mean. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for the warehouse. It means a lot.
Prime example, one of the best things, it happens off the court. Jordan, our intern, I recruited her out of high school. She's sitting here with us right now. And I said to her, I think you do really, really well in broadcasting. And now she's with us right now working on, hopefully becoming a professional broadcaster. It has nothing to do with basketball. It was, we were connected through basketball, and being able to kind of have those mentorship dynamics and become friends with these kids. And, one day you get invited to their wedding or something like that. That's why I've always gotten into coaching. That's what's been fun for me about it.
It really is. And I like to really say that basketball is just a vehicle for us to convey that message of hard work, because most of our kids are never going to continue to play a sport. Like, all of us have a finite experience, but I still hear the message of my mentors every day, the working hard and believe in yourself, and the getting through difficult times. And, I know how special it is to hear those messages from the coaches that meant a lot to me. I hope down the road, those kids, when they're going through a tough time, or they're started a new job, or they're lacking confidence in something, they hear that warehouse message or that gym rat message. Because again, basketball is a small part of a lot of these kids' lives, and it's different for everybody, but the message of hard work and persistence, I think, carries through to all phases of life.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Coach, we really appreciate you coming on with us. I hope one day we can get you down here in Pittsburgh. And I know Alex is from your neck of the woods, so I definitely think we're going to have to make a trip up to the warehouse.
Road trip, we could broadcast live from the warehouse.
Yeah.
And,
Hey, I'm home. I'm home the second week of August and the first week of September. I'm coming by.
What part of town you from, or what part of Jersey you from, Alex?
All right. I was born in Summit, grew up in Middletown.
Oh, perfect. We're right in Edison, and I live in Woodbridge, and we're right in the middle of Raritan Center is where our warehouse is.
Okay, yeah, it's 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to partner up on some stuff.
All right, man. I'll tell you what, guys, it's truly been an honor. I feel absolutely flattered that you even would want me on your show, and you guys are doing a great job. I watched some of the older shows. This is good stuff, guys. And Andrew, it was great to finally, I guess you could say we talked in person.
Yeah. Close enough on the Zoom, but I agree. I think we are going to meet in person coming up here. It's always good to work with like-minded people and people that I think are making a real positive impact on the game of basketball and on young people.
Oh, thank you, guys. I appreciate it. And best of luck with the new show. I'll be listening.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back here on the Pittsburgh Sports Report on ThreeRiversBroadcasting.com.
The Guard Market is a digital marketplace that provides customers with access to licensed security professionals on demand. Let's face it, you have a lot to do running your business, and security, well, that's our business. We take the hassle out of searching, vetting, and scheduling private security guards for your unique needs. Just tell us what you need, when you need it, and we'll handle the rest. Guard Market security service partners are carefully screened and thoroughly vetted to meet the demanding needs of our diverse client base. Using advanced technology, we match you with the most qualified service provider based upon your specific needs and geographic requirements. For more information, you can visit our website at www.theguardmarket.com and call Andrew at 732-266-9344 with your service requests today. The Guard Market, security on demand. Pennsylvania Football News is the most comprehensive source for coverage of high school football in the Commonwealth. They feature coverage of every district in the state, both in and out of season, and Pennsylvania Football News also showcases player profiles, the Go Route Coaches Corner, exclusive coverage of the Big 33 game, and many other exciting high school football features. You can visit their website at www.pafootballnews.com and contact pafnsales@gmail.com. That's pafnsales@gmail.com if you'd like to advertise with Pennsylvania Football News, the most comprehensive source for high school football in the Commonwealth.
with Three Rivers Broadcasting. A little weather report here. For us, rest of the week, it should be mid-80s, but the weekend's not looking too dry for us.
So what's that mean for the golf?
I have an outing on Saturday, so I don't know. I hope it still goes on.
It means we're also
I
gonna
need
be
to get a
hiding in the
tan
press
here
box.
because you're getting back from vacation. You have a tan.
Where do you
I'm
doing?
going on vacation next
I'm
week.
sitting in a gym all the time, so I never get a tan. I got to start going outside here. This is getting
South
ridiculous.
Carolina,
Yeah,
strongly
I'm gonna have to or hit
suggested. Great time.
the golf course with Jordan. Walk the course a little bit.
Yeah,
So
go
I'm gonna
for
have
it.
to do that.
Where are you going on vacation?
Duck, Carolina.
Duck?
Duck, yes.
Huh.
I've
I had
heard
to
of
think
it.
of it for a
Duck.
second.
Yes, there's a place called Duck.
Yes.
It's real.
All right, so
All right, let's go for it.
let's dive into this. You were explaining to Elijah what the PIAA is, which is the equivalent of what do you guys call it in?
NJSI.
Yeah, so
It's
the
State
Pennsylvania
Athletic Association.
Interscholastic Athletic Association, which is the governing body for Pennsylvania. They came up with a ruling this week that kids that are repeating a grade this year due to COVID will not be granted an additional year of eligibility to play sports. Am I correct on that?
That's what they said. And for me, I don't see anything wrong with it.
Neither do I.
I think that in order to protect the integrity of high school sports, I think that's the way to go. And I feel bad for kids that lost the season, but at the same time, I think you have to stick to that rule because if you grant the extra year, you could have kids who were 18
21.
going on 19, and well, that's it. You will now have a kid who's 19 going on 20, playing against 13 going on 14.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
for
think
me,
about it. Some of these kids have
that's the line.
reclassified. They're 16 going into their freshman year.
And that's a thing that has happened across Pennsylvania. The idea of holding back. It happens across the country too, but in Pennsylvania, specifically in northeastern Pennsylvania, this was a big deal for about 25 years. When George Curry was the football coach up in Berwick, happened every now and then. And then I was in college and I interviewed a guy who was the principal at Our Lady of Lourdes in Shamokin, Pennsylvania, up north of Pottsville. And he explained that when he was in Mount Carmel, which is a very, very powerful football program historically, Mount Carmel area, one of the winningest programs in the country, for a good spell, especially when we were in like middle school going into high school, they won a couple of state titles. What they were doing was, and I might be breaking the story on this, but they were holding.
You need to have like breaking news or something.
This might be.
Dun, dun.
They were holding kids back in 5th grade every year because the clock started in middle school. So what they would do is they'd hold these kids back in 5th grade and hold them back again in 8th. So they would end up in high school. They'd be at the higher end of the age group where you could be, I think it's up to like going on 19. So they would have their senior classes. All these seniors were 18 going on 19 when football
How old were you
season
when you
started.
graduated high school?
I think I was 18.
I was 18.
Yeah.
I was 17 still.
18.
Okay.
So,
So yeah, I was 18. But if you think about it, let's say I personally know that there's kids that are 16 going into their freshman year.
yeah.
So you got freshman year 16, sophomore 17, senior year 18, or
You're
junior
going
year
on,
18.
That's it. You're going on 19.
19, yeah, going in. And then, let's say you're a legit prospect, okay, and you didn't get what you wanted.
Prep school.
Now kids go to prep school. So now you might be 20 years old your freshman year in college. So by the time you graduate, you're 24.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's way too much.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
if you look at and one of the ways I kind of got wise to this is I started looking at guys' ages in the NCAA basketball tournament. You look at this guy, I'm like, man, he looks like a grown man. Well, then you look up, he's 24 years
25
old. Yeah, he is a grown man. You know, so
and a program that always did that for a while, it was who's it? It was Leonard Hamilton at Florida State.
okay.
He would always have guys 25, 26. There was
Remember
one.
Chris Winkie?
Yeah.
Wasn't he like 28
He was like
or something?
25, 26, yeah. But I remember I think it was around when we were in college, Hamilton had a player who had served in the military and did like 2 tours. And then he was a superb high school basketball prospect, but he went to the military, did 2 tours. He was 27 or 28 as a freshman.
You know, my first year at Carlo, there was, and I really don't have a problem with that. If you want to serve the country and come back and get a degree and play sports,
yeah,
cool.
I'm fine with that.
I'm good with that. We had a kid that was played at Brescia, or I think it was Brescia. It might have been Midway. But she did the same thing. She was 2 tours in the military. She was 27 years old playing against 18-year-olds. So can you imagine, the advantage you would have?
My friend actually, last year on my team at RMU, he was actually 28.
And he played on the team?
Yeah.
What was his story?
Well, he went to the Army, I believe.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with that. But I do have kind of a problem when people are using it to their advantage for recruitment purposes, because I really think it messes up the whole dynamic. When you say, hey, class of 2022, you're expecting that kid to be 17, 18 years old, not 19, 20.
Well, and I think now, though, as a coach, you have to look into that as a college coach. You have to look into, is this kid who, maybe she scored 20 points every game the last season, or you have a running back who ripped off 1,800 yards or something crazy like that and was barreling over kids or flying by them. Are you going to look at that now and say, well, is this kid 19 playing against 14-year-olds?
Yeah, Jordan, I mean, you're going to be, you're 20 now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine you going up, back to, with your skills and strength and ability now, going back to like Franklin Regional? Like, you'd probably be averaging 35 points a game.
Ridiculous, yeah.
So that's what's happening, So yeah, I don't have a problem with what the PIAA did. I agree with you. I think, life happens, and it's unfortunate that COVID happened this past year, and a lot of people got, for lack of a better term, they got screwed this year. A lot of college, high school, everybody got screwed. So that's life, and not everything has to be, oh, okay, well, last year you weren't able to do something, so we're going to make it up to you this year. No, life goes on. We're on to the new year.
Yeah, move forward. Yeah. And I know Kentucky made that call last year already, where there were some calls saying, well, should we let kids repeat the school year because they missed it, and should we let them play more sports? And I believe they said no. They're like, no way, we're not going to let that happen. Like, we're sorry that it got burned, but guess what? The class of 1918 and 1919 also got burned when they had the Spanish
class
flu.
Of 1942.
How about
that's
1942 that went to the war? And that's or the class of 64 that went into Vietnam. Like it happens. But I think it was the right call by the PIAA to do that. And I think again, it's sad for a lot of these kids. But now comes to the game where if you feel like you lost a year, where you talk about finding a fit, or parents, or the Twitterverse of, well, I want to say I got it, D1. I'm not going to say that Teal is interested in me to play, men's soccer or whatever it is. This is the year to be scouring, and I put it out. You retweeted it about maybe a week. I guess it was right before I went on vacation. The list of every single college that plays sports in America.
Yeah.
This is the year to, once again, because all the athletes got an extra year so they can come back, to be going on and looking up, the D3 schools, the NAIA schools, the JUCOs, to be able, to see it, and the minute amount of kids that are going to get a scholarship, you should be doing that anyway.
If I didn't get what I wanted this year as a high school senior, I'd probably take this year off and just work and work on lifting weights and working on my game. I think that's what I would do rather than start my clock if I'm going to try to go to an NCAA school.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, use the time to pretty much better yourself, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, because you could still go out to showcases and use that opportunity for unsigned seniors or stuff like that.
We saw one when we went down to the
Hoop Group.
The Hoop Group, Hoop Group Fest. There was a player.
What happened to that guy?
He's at a prep school.
Okay.
He's going to a prep school, and I've talked to a couple of college coaches from back east. And we talked about him, and we won't name him, but there were some issues there. Not grade-wise, he had great grades, but
play-wise.
Play-wise was an issue. And then him and his parents were both a little bit of an issue as far as expectations. There were some D2 schools that I know the coaches back in
I
the
spoke
East,
to a couple of them, and
they all
were
said the same thing.
Really good D2s.
Yes.
And they said, oh, we tried to talk to this kid, and he said, oh, he's D1. And me and you watched him, and he's not D1.
No, somebody might take a flyer because of the size,
right?
But I wouldn't say D1, but he's one of those kids who now he's going to take advantage of that prep route.
And I think this works for football, volleyball, basketball. We've really fooled ourselves as to what exactly a D1 player is.
100%.
A lot of kids have the look. Like, you don't have the look as a Division I player, right? I'm not insulting you.
No,
You would say the same thing. Elijah's 5'8", 165, 170 pounds, but the guy's putting up 170 some yards as a Division I starting running
Right,
back.
scoring touchdowns
So
against.
if I see him walking down the street, I'm not going to say, oh, man, that guy's a Division I running back. But when I see him on the field, I go, oh, that guy's a Division I running back. So, we've kind of conned ourselves into thinking that there's this specific look, and we give scholarships out to this look, but the person doesn't actually have the skill, or they don't have the drive or the talent to play at that level. So you have a lot of Division I coaches recruiting guys that are freak athletes that can throw down nasty dunks, but that's really all they can do. They can dunk it. Or maybe as a running back, they run a great 40-yard dash, but they're not intelligent enough to hit the hole, or they don't work hard enough on their footwork to be able to bounce out of a tackle. So, yeah, they're great athletes, but that's where it stops.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, people just go really by size, like you said. I mean, he's the biggest guy. He's 225, but he may be slow. I would rather take a guy who can actually get the job done rather than a guy who looks like he can get the job done. You know what I mean?
All right, well, let's transition. This is a good point for us to transition. I know you're big into watching the NBA Finals, and this is something we wanted to talk about. There's a lot of guys right now in the NBA Finals that don't really have the look, but they're pretty good. Now, you got a guy like Giannis who has the look.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the Greek freak for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the look,
He's
and he's
7
got
foot tall.
The skills match.
He got the muscle. He can jump out of the gym, and he's pretty skilled. I mean, he could probably get even more skilled, but he's a freaky basketball player. Then you got guys like Drew Holiday. I wouldn't say Drew Holiday looks like a freak athlete.
We can even say Chris Paul.
Yeah, I can say that.
He doesn't look like he doesn't carry that.
I was laughing because
figure,
the Cliff Paul commercials are kind of funny because, I think there's a lot of truth to Cliff Paul. Like, he's just a guy. Like when you see him walking down the street, you're like, oh, okay, he's a regular guy. But when that guy gets the ball in his hands, he's one of probably the all-time great point guards to ever play the game.
Listen, I think, like you said, Elijah, a lot of coaches, a lot of organizations, AAU, whatever it is, colleges, they get a little stuck on size. And just because you don't have that size doesn't mean at the next level that, listen, they're not going to care. Look, Spud Webb was what, 5'3"? Muggsy Bogues was 5'5". And
you remember Earl?
What was Steve Kerr? 5'9", maybe.
Maybe. There was also that guy played at Eastern Michigan, Earl. He played in the NBA for Earl Boykins. He played for. He was like 5'5". He played for the Nuggets. I mean, those guys could play.
But if you could play and you're fundamentally sound and you can do all the little things, that's gonna puts you a step ahead. And yeah, just because Chris Paul doesn't.
Michelle Burns.
Michelle Burns, she's amazing.
Yeah, and Michelle's what, maybe 5'3" on a good day, but can shoot the lights out, dribble, and great athlete.
Amazing.
And she's a smart player, so that's kind of
well. And she's on one, and she's that's short.
I think basketball is one of the biggest sports where that falls in. I think
I'd say soccer too.
Well, we want size. Here real quick. There was an organization I knew, one of the semi-pro teams back east, where one of the coaches I knew said, I tipped him off to a few players that were at Moravian who were all conference D3. He goes, well, I need bigger players, and I'm like, it doesn't matter if they're big.
Well, I mean, I just think. Who's you said the best player right now? Is it Ronaldo or who's?
It's either Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, or
I think it was Messi. You were talking.
Messi's like 5 foot. If he's 5'6" on a good day.
Okay, and he's the best player
might say
in the
he's
entire
5'7".
world.
He's the best player in the world.
And the most popular. I'm not a huge soccer guy. I can appreciate how great athletes they are, but it's the most popular sport in the entire world.
And the best player is 5'5".
Yeah.
Does he look like? If you see a photo of him, he doesn't look like you said. He doesn't look like a guy who's gonna be dominating to a level that no one's ever seen before. But
No.
at 5'6", 5'7", whatever he is. And he's not built like Cristiano Ronaldo's 6'1". He's 190 pounds. That dude's jacked. Like you see him without his shirt on. He doesn't have a 6-pack. He has like a 24-pack.
Yeah.
But he has the look and he can back it up. But again, just because you don't have the size doesn't mean you can't play.
No, I fully agree. Before we move into the next segment, I want to talk just for a second about one of our sponsors. Jordan just cut a commercial for them. And who was that today? You cut it a couple of times.
Mother of Mercy.
Mother of Mercy Academy in Pittsburgh, in the Whitehall Baldwin area. And I'm really excited about what we have going on with Principal Militzer. Great partnership with us and Three Rivers Broadcasting. And, I would encourage other schools. If you have a school that's a private school, Catholic school, Christian school, Three Rivers Broadcasting is the place you want to be at.
Absolutely.
With our Christian programming, our Catholic programming, our ethnic programming.
It's a good fit.
It's a good fit. So
if you're not going to hit mom and dad with some of the shows we have, you're going to hit grandma, and grandma's still got a lot of influence.
Grandma definitely has a lot of influence. And as our station grows, this is a great opportunity right now for some of these schools that, might not have the budget to get on the big television stations. But we're going to push the heck out of these guys, and we're going to get your message out there. And right now, we're over 2,500 hits a week right now, guys, and that number continues to grow. So I would really encourage you, if you have an interest, and even if it's not a school, just a small business, hit us up at threeriversbroadcasting.com.
That's what we're here for. We're here to help you, the small business owner, the nonprofit, the churches here in Western Pennsylvania and the Panhandle of West Virginia. That's what we're here for. We want to give you a voice. Maybe you can't afford the big boys, but we can work with you, and we're going to get you promoted on a wide variety of social media platforms in addition to our website, and we're definitely going to go to bat for you.
So when we come back, I think this is going to become a fixture on this show, Oddball Sports.
I like it.
And I kind of want Jordan to take the lead on this. She kind of got this rocking last week when we started looking at some of the weird Olympic games. But we're going to go through some oddball sports, and I think this will include wrestling, Olympic sports,
Olympic beer drinking.
Yeah, whatever you want it to be.
it.
We're going to talk about it, mix it up a little bit. We don't always talk about all the mainstream stuff here on the Pittsburgh Sports Report. So we'll be talking about that when we get back on threeriversbroadcasting.com.
Steel City Grease Traps has provided professional wastewater removal services to the restaurant industry in the tri-state area for nearly 20 years. Steel City Grease Traps provides grease trap pumping, fryer oil removal, as well as drain, pipe, and repair services. Fully insured and licensed by the Commonwealth, Steel City Grease Traps is the service leader in Western Pennsylvania. Their work is their pride, and their word is their bond. Visit their website at www.steelcitygreasemanagement.com or contact them at steelcitygtsales@gmail.com. That's steelcitygtsales@gmail.com for Steel City Grease Traps for all of your non-hazardous wastewater removal needs in the tri-state area. The Guard Market is a digital marketplace that provides customers with access to licensed security professionals on demand. Let's face it, you have a lot to do running your business, and security, well, that's our business. We take the hassle out of searching, vetting, and scheduling private security guards for your unique needs. Just tell us what you need, when you need it, and we'll handle the rest. Guard Market security service partners are carefully screened and thoroughly vetted to meet the demanding needs of our diverse client base. Using advanced technology, we match you with the most qualified service provider based upon your specific needs and geographic requirements. For more information, you can visit our website at www.theguardmarket.com and call Andrew at 732-266-9344 with your service requests today. The Guard Market, security on demand.
All right, we're back here on the Three Rivers Broadcasting Pittsburgh Sports Report. Time for a little of the oddball stuff.
How about Mr. Wonderful passing away?
Interesting.
Yeah, listen, Paul Orndorff was one of the stars. I'd say back, this is even before you and I were watching, because I started getting into it around the time of like Diesel, Razor Ramon, like
Yeah, me too.
90s. But Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, for some of the older wrestling fans, they'd remember him from the 70s and the 80s as a member of the Heenan family. It was Bobby the Brain and Mr. Perfect.
Yeah, there was that
Andre.
graphic up there.
There was like 7 or 8 of them that were part of this. Rick Rude was another one, and they've all passed away now.
Mhm.
But Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff had quite a persona, and he had a way of riling up the fans. I was watching some of his old clips today, and there was one sequence. I think it was actually put on Twitter by Jim Cornette, who was a wrestling manager for many years and worked in the WWF before, I guess NE after they named. He was there for a while, and essentially, Orndorff got a rise out of the crowd without throwing a punch. He was wrestling a guy, and the guy was hitting him, and he started to, I guess if you want to say like what Hogan used to do, like the Hulk up thing.
Yeah, right.
And Orndorff had his own version of it where he would sit there and just look up at the guy, and the guy'd hit him. And he'd look up at him again, and the guy would hit him. And the crowd is starting to get, louder and louder every time the guy hits him, and Orndorff doesn't fall to the ground. Well, when he had a strap on, like one of those like singlets, and he takes the singlet off, and he's still on his knees getting up, and the crowd goes crazy, and he hadn't even made one offensive move.
Yeah, just a good showman.
He was that good of a showman.
Well, see, that's kind of the thing that I think wrestling is lost today. Is the good showmanship. I mean, I think a lot of people used to go to watch wrestling because these people were larger than life. Like,
Yeah.
you knew these guys weren't, they were scripted matches and that type of stuff. But, women, I think, would go to the matches because you had good-looking guys, wrestling, which was cool. You wanted to see the physique. Guys would go to the matches, same thing. Guy's massive. Look how strong the guy is. That's cool. And I think that is missing in today's wrestling dynamic.
It is. And, I also saw recently an interview with The Undertaker. I forget who he was with, whether it was him and Austin or him and somebody. Or no, he was on a podcast. Was it Rogan? I think
Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I think it was Rogan he was on with, and he goes, Vince is going to be really pissed at me for saying this, but he goes, these guys stink today, basically.
Yeah.
He was like that. He goes, they're a different locker room. It's a different attitude. They don't have the character. They don't have the persona. He goes, there were 100 of us in WWF, and then another 100 of them in WCW. He goes, and we were all the same age. And he said, we hit 45 and we all retired, and there was nobody behind us.
Well, but I think that's what it is. I mean, if I still think wrestling can be attractive to people if it's done the right way. If you have some of these larger than life personas, people are still going to want to see that and see kind of the craziness. Remember Stone Cold Steve Austin, driving a beer truck out and, spraying the crowd and stuff. It was so crazy at the time, and it kind of was an escape from your real world. And now this stuff is just like, it's ridiculous. Like, there's just not good storytellers and good personas that you can connect with.
No, I think they've gone back to prior to, I think, going into the characters and then the attitude stuff. Vince McMahon was big on bodybuilders.
Well, yeah, that's what I was talking about. Because that was,
they weren't the most skilled guys.
Well,
the real
Ultimate Warrior.
Well, that's it. The real skilled guys were out in the territories that he
Yeah.
ended up buying up, whether it was Stu Hart, Stampede Wrestling, or Smoky Mountain, where The Rock started out down there in Smoky Mountain, and it was the Gangstas came out of there, and they ended up in ECW and were huge. Chris Candido started down there. So many guys who had these larger-than-life personas started out in these little territories, and they eventually plucked them off. But Vince liked bodybuilders, and he got through the attitude thing because he admitted, he goes, I did it because I had to. It's not what I wanted to do, but I had to kill WCW in order to stay in business. And now they've gone back to, I don't know if it's that he's taken a little step back, and now his daughter and Triple H are running the company, and Triple H is a bodybuilding guy, and I never thought he was the best in the ring. He could cut a good promo, and he had about 9 moves, but that he would do in repetition every match.
but he's a physique guy. That guy, he's a bodybuilder before he's a wrestler, and he's in charge of the development now.
But I'm not even seeing all the bodybuilding guys like coming back.
Well, they can't take the
they can't do the steroids.
They can't take the supplements anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a special supplement they're not allowed to use anymore.
Exactly. Well, I mean, and I think, Jordan, you talked about this a couple weeks ago with some of the MMA stuff, and a big fight this past weekend with Conor McGregor. And Conor McGregor's too old. I mean, he's 32, which in fighter age is he's over the hill. Broke his ankle. Conor McGregor is a really good showman.
He's really good.
Not only was he a good fighter, but he's really good at like he's kind of he's the guy that's like real cocky and will say stuff that you wouldn't think other people or he says what you want to say but don't have the balls to say it. And that's what he does well. And people like that. He kind of took that WWE or WCW persona and turned it into a MMA fighter.
Look at what he did with Floyd Mayweather. Look at how much money they made. Floyd Mayweather is another one.
Floyd
He's
Mayweather
a
was like 45 years old, 44 years old. But
and Floyd Mayweather knocked out Jake Paul and held him up.
Jake Paul.
He clocked him, and he was. I watched a little bit of that fight grudgingly. I said I'm going to go find a stream of it somewhere, and I did. And
that's what I want Elijah to be like the next Jake Paul. Like he just becomes like a
YouTube sensation. Yeah, I'm into it.
Oh no, man.
We're gonna challenge people to like 40-yard dashes and like all kind of crazy stuff. Bench press contests.
That would be probably kind of interesting though, if you really think about it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's maybe interesting and Jordan and I have talked about this. I always think it's interesting that people have kind of banked on themselves like to become a celebrity, because really all you've done is, you've made a bunch of YouTube videos and all this type of stuff. But I always say, like, what happens if tomorrow YouTube is no longer YouTube? You just, we're not doing YouTube anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
your entire platform is gone unless you have something internal, unless you have, JordanYanniga.com and you have people that buy subscriptions to that site.
And you own the website.
If you're relying on other avenues to get your message out, you one day might be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, you could be.
And WWE, I mean, to their credit, they started the WWE Network. You're starting to see a lot of the big colleges start, at least by conference, the SEC Network, the ACC Network. Some of them even have their own network for their own school. I think
Texas.
Michigan or Texas
has the Longhorn Network, and they put all the Texas athletic on there. They put track and field on there, volleyball, you name it.
And
University
they're selling that network to all the affiliates in Texas. So they're bringing money in.
And they've connected with Verizon and Comcast. They bought that space nationwide now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's interesting. So kind of, this is our oddball sports section. We can talk about whatever we want here. You're big into fashion, right? So I want to put you on the spot here, okay? How do you see fashion right now playing into what's going on in the U.S. Olympic or the Olympic Games coming up? Is there any correlation between fashion?
Like what athletes are wearing.
Yeah, what athletes are wearing. Is this a time right now for athletic companies to start making a statement with all the entire world is focused on the Olympic Games coming
like
up?
You said before, with these track stars that train their entire lives all year, like this is their moment. So, I mean, these companies should be getting in there for the sport of track, especially because it's not really watched or talked about a lot for the rest of the year unless it's the Olympics.
So what do you if you have an athletic company, what are you focused on? This is where we're teaching a little bit of our interns. What are you focused on right now in terms of these athletes and the products they're wearing?
Trying to get them to get your product out there.
Yeah, so I think it's twofold. I mean, one, you're going to have to wear what the team is requiring you to wear when you're competing. But when you're on your own time, when you're walking around, when you're doing your own social media, hey, I'm live at the Olympic Games.
Yeah, not even just athletic clothing,
anything you want. You got to have that brand on your social media, on your Instagram, TikTok. Whatever. I'm rocking Lululemon or whatever. I'm training for my last day. This is the time for a lot of these athletes to cash in.
It is.
It really is.
Yeah, because, hey, you get every 4 years, Some of these people aren't going to have that opportunity.
No, you're only going to get one chance to do it. And if somebody's going to be willing to toss you, a couple $100,000 for a 1-year contract or something like that, it's worth it.
So, like, Elijah and I were talking about oddball sports. So one of the things we talked about was beach handball, right?
Yep.
Okay. I don't know crap about beach handball. Okay.
We're gonna learn together this summer.
I just looked it up. It's basically handball. So it's like soccer on a beach volleyball, field, I guess you could call it, or court, sand.
Okay.
There's a volleyball or a soccer type net in the back with a goalie, and there's like a line where you have to shoot the ball from.
Right. I'm familiar with the concept of handball as a sport. Now that's popular in Europe.
Right. Okay. So
I'm familiar with that. So we're doing a beach version.
It's a
of this.
beach version.
Okay.
Now here's the thing about this, and this is where I think this is smart. And the Olympics knows this. You're going to play a beach sport. So what do you think the guys are wearing?
Speedos.
Swim trunks, no shirt.
Yeah.
Women have on bikinis.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, that's going to be a popular sport.
Yes.
Because viewers are going to want to watch good-looking people
run around.
Then they're going to say, I'd like to look more into this person on social media.
Yeah.
Check them out, see what they're about. So if I'm a company like Lululemon or some of the other ones that you like, I'm going to say, hey, I'm not targeting so much the mainstream athlete that everybody knows in that sport. I'm going to find sports that people maybe nobody's ever heard of, but have the potential to be really, really popular this summer. And I'm going to try to get a couple of those athletes to market for us.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm doing.
It's not even just during the summer with the games. It's that this next year after, like once these athletes are playing, like they're known for a certain amount of months, for like they're everywhere for a certain amount of months, and then they're not, sadly.
Yeah, I mean, think about somebody. You remember Michael Phelps?
Yep.
So Michael Phelps, won a ton of Olympic medals.
Yeah.
Had some depression issues and different things. Now I'm seeing he's advertising for like companies that do therapy and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've seen those commercials. Yeah.
I don't think those commercials are as effective if Michael Phelps isn't Michael Phelps.
No. If he was just like some random guy from across the street who's like, "Hi, I'm Michael Phelps, and I went to the recovery center of whatever."
Right.
No, but when it's like, "Hi, I'm Michael Phelps, the 12-time whatever gold medal winner, and I went to the recovery center because I used to drink a lot," or whatever it is, like, that's going to carry a lot more weight, and that endorsement will make him, quite a bit of money.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's a lot of money being thrown around, for these types of endorsements, especially and the Olympics are still a big deal. If you're an Olympic gold medalist, you can get a little bit more mileage out of endorsements than, you could if you weren't.
Yeah, and we, I think so often we kind of think of things that how we perceive them or see them here in the United States, and we're not realizing that, in other countries, sometimes these are their athletes at a small country.
Yeah.
So if you're a national hero in some obscure sport that we in the United States don't know anything about, over in their country, that might be the sport. That might be their football, or that might be their basketball. So
yeah, and if one of them takes a medal, there will be a lot of money within their own country.
Just look at Nigeria just the other day beating Team USA in basketball. I mean,
yeah, we didn't even talk about that.
Now there's 8 guys on that team that played in the NBA, but if I'm a Nigerian, I'm proud as heck as those guys, and I want to. If I'm a Nigerian company, hey, I want one of the Nigerian basketball players that just beat Team USA to be doing some even though it's not an Olympic game. I want them advertising for us.
190 million people in the country. There's money to be made after that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like if you can get like a household name and then relate it to people, I think that would be the perfect position, because like Nigeria, nobody knew that they was gonna beat the USA basketball team.
Yeah.
Right.
If you get a person from their team to rep your clothing or something like that, and Nigerians will love it because he's from Nigeria. So
yeah,
that's it. Yeah,
people like he may have came up with a rough life, and someone in Nigeria
can relate to
that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
So
yeah, I think people always want relatable stories.
Yeah.
I think we obsess too much on obviously on skin color and all this stuff. I just want to I don't care if I can relate to a guy who's Asian or African American. If I can relate to their story, I feel like I'm connected with that person.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I love about sports is we can find so many relatable stories.
You can.
Yeah, and so many of the things that we get caught up on that that can be seen as differences or obstacles. At the end of the day, we start realizing like we're all just human, and that person I can relate to because they've gone through similar things that I do. Even though we might not know each other, even though we might be from different parts of the world or country, I can relate to their story.
Well, and I think that's one of the beautiful things about sports too, because especially once you get out of the high school level, once you get to the college level and then to the professional ranks, a very different game. When you get to that level of college, you're going to deal with people from all different walks of life, and I think it expands your horizon as a person.
I agree.
And if it doesn't, you miss the experience.
I agree. I mean, I think Elijah, 4 years of college football, you've probably have learned a lot about a lot of different guys in your locker room and become friends with guys that you never thought you would become friends with, and have those relationships the rest of your life.
Definitely. Like I have, it's 2 people on my team right now that's from Hawaii, and I never thought, I would be friends with them, but they're just genuine people. Like,
yeah.
And I can connect to them somehow.
Now, I wouldn't mind getting a trip over to Hawaii to go see one of my friends down the road.
Really, like their culture over there, even though it's in the United States,
different.
It's way different.
Yeah.
And I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, awesome show today.
That was great.
What do we got going on coming up here? I think busy weekend for us, right?
Yeah. Well, we'll have the Polka Show on Saturday, and then we got Riverhounds game on Saturday night. They take on Loudoun United. That's DC United's kind of reserve team, farm team. And that'll be at 7 o'clock. We'll be down there. We'll probably be down there. We usually get there about 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, we
do our footage. We got all 4 coming, too.
Yeah, I think we're going to try to get a little bit more footage on field. Riverhounds have been very, very gracious to us, opening up their everything to us to be able to provide coverage, additional coverage for the team. So we're really, really thankful for that. And we're working on a couple other professional sports teams here to try to partner with them or connect with them or whatever they want to call it. I think, Three Rivers Broadcasting is available to whoever wants to work with us.
Yeah, no, I think that's our goal here. And we're working on some church projects as well for weekends, working on some religious programming, and then I think we may have another polka star coming in soon.
Oh,
as
yeah.
Well,
I was at church this week, and somebody came up to me, and I'm not going to say the person's name because it's a big name in the polka community, but that person said, "Hey, I heard you were," and I was like, "It's true. It's true." So that he's hopefully going to be coming on soon.
I'm hoping he's starting soon. He was waiting on this computer behind Jordan, and it's ready now. And I think we tested it out well today. So I think we'll be hearing some new voices soon. And Matt Simmons will be back next Tuesday.
Yep.
He had a family emergency, so he wasn't able to be here this past week. But good show.
Very good show. Final thing is, if you are interested in being a radio star, we want to hear from you here at threeriversbroadcasting.com. We are still in the process of bringing on our more and more specialty shows. If you have
talk about it all.
Yeah, I mean, if you have something sports related, health related, religious related, talk to us. If you think you have what it takes to be on the radio, we want to hear your ideas. We can help you get on the radio and reach a lot of people with your message. So drop us a line at threeriversbroadcasting.com. Talk to Alex or myself. We'll gladly do what it takes to help you become a radio star. And that's one of the beauties of this forum is we're creating radio stars here. I think Matt is proving that.
Yeah, I think we can be an entry point for a lot of people who have a lot of talent, and I think there's a lot of talent here in the region that has maybe doesn't know where to go, or they've reached out to some of the other stations and they're finding out that it's a couple $100 an hour, and they that's a full-time job at that point. If you're going to go into that realm, you need to scrounge up $300, $400 an hour, $500 an hour, some places way more than that. You need to go get 25, 35 sponsors to start covering that cost on a weekly basis. So we can do it, effectively and affordably here at Three Rivers Broadcasting. And this is a great place to come and, start your broadcasting and syndication career.
We will see you guys on, well, Alex will see you guys tomorrow. Our whole crew will see you guys on Saturday at the Pittsburgh Riverhounds game. That's all for now on the Pittsburgh Sports Report on 3riversbroadcasting.com. We'll see you next time.
Ciao.